Hi, welcome to another episode of Alte, Herren. My name is Rob Runacres, and I'm joined as ever by my friend Hans Jonlind, who's going to introduce tonight's episode.
Yes, I will. Hi, everybody. Tonight we are going to take a look at a longsword fight from Helsinki Open between Kristine Konsmo and Tosca Beuming. I hope I pronounced that correctly. We haven't done an episode with from the women's longsword before, so this is the first time. Our bad, we should have done it before, I guess. It's kind of an exciting scene actually, and we see a lot of technical progress in that division. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. I think again, it's a very male-dominated martial art HEMA. The competitions that are specific for women are still quite small in comparison. I think women's longsword has really come on fantastically over the last few years, and we're seeing such great longswordists coming through. We're looking at a brilliant fight from Helsinki. We're also doing this, of course, because you were coaching Kristine at the time, and I'm very interested because it's quite a psychological bout, this one, and it's obviously psychological for the fighters, but I'm interested to hear about your thoughts on the coaching as well.
Sure. Coaching is really interesting, and I was very happy when Christina asked me if I wanted to coach her. She's usually coached by Axel Persson, but he wasn't there, so she asked me. I happily stepped in, and it was really interesting. I love to coach. It's fun because you get to see the fight in a new perspective. You get to stand by the side, and both you and I are very used to judging, so we get to stand and stay close to fight and see fights. But as a coach, you have to look at it from another perspective. You have to kind of see the next step, so to speak. You become a little part of the whole chess game, and that's really fun actually. So yeah, we can. It's a 3-round fight. It's a bronze fight.
Yes, I think that's something that's also we're doing for the first time on this one, is to have a full 3-round final, and I'm interested in seeing that psychological arc as it goes through. One of the things that I think is interesting as well that I'd quite like to hear about is we're kind of in the habit of, if someone needs someone in the corner, to step in, but coaching, of course, like teaching and fighting yourself, is very much a skill, and it also relies on a relationship between the fighter and the coach. If you don't get that right, if you don't have that relationship, you've basically got someone yelling from the sidelines whilst the fighter's attempting to hold things on their own. So it's a really interesting interplay, isn't it? There's actually 4 people competing if you've got that really good partnership going on.
Yeah, and you have to know the fighter the fighter you are coaching. If you don't know how he or she wants to be coached, you might do something wrong. You might kind of destroy something mentally for them. So I asked Christina before, okay, what kind of coaching do you want? And she was very clear. I want to be, be very positive. Things are going to go great. Move your feet, do this. Just very clear instructions, and then just to keep a positive attitude, and also to make her be focused and kind of calm. Because fighters have a tendency to get kind of emotional when things don't go well, and it's very easy to forget the simplest thing actually. So
you're talking to the choir here, as I'm throwing my toys out the cot, which to my eternal shame. So okay, this is interesting then. So Kristine's asked you to coach.
Yeah.
And she said that she really needs something positive to drive up. So did you have any sort of pre-match discussion, training? What did you do for this?
We did some warm-ups when we just talked about how she should move and stuff like that. And I know the way she fends quite well. I've seen her fend very much in rapier dagger. And I know when she moved from Rapier Dagger into Longsword, what she had to think about, the specific things. When you fight in Rapier, for instance, your hand can be out from your body quite a lot, and in Longsword you can't really do that because your hand will be quite easy target. So she has to pull it in a little bit when she moves. Also, that she just keep the footwork going, move, and don't get steady and get heavy on your feet. Those were the two things, and I know Axel also texted me before the remember to say this, remember to say that, and that those were the things that me and Kristine had talked about. So
that's really interesting, actually. So you set up. You've got knowledge of the fighter beforehand to effectively coach. This may seem the obvious, but of course a lot of us go, oh, do you want me in your corner and stuff like that? And really, we're not coaching if we don't have an understanding of the fighter beforehand. We're giving the time and just giving encouragement. We're not really giving that practical advice, are we? But you've basically set up the ground rules beforehand.
Yeah, I think that's important to get to know your fighter, the person you are going to coach. What is her or his goal with this competition? What is it that they want to achieve in their fencing, and also what kind of technical difficulties and obstacles might they have? And another thing is to get to know the opponent. Take a look at, if you haven't fenced that you're going to coach, okay, take a look at the opponent's fights, in the pools or something like that. So you get an understanding for how that person moves, the favorite techniques or stuff that might show up. So you are as prepared as possible. And I think that's something you have to do.
Okay, brilliant. Shall we have a look at these fights then?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm about to start the video now. So we got Tosca Beuming versus Kristine Konsmo. Are you ready for me to play?
Yeah, sure. And you see Kristine is in the red gambeson. She's actually also in the red corner. I think they mixed it up in the text you see at the bottom. So Kristine Konsmo in red and Tosca Beuming is in blue over there in the black gear.
Now, we haven't mentioned Tosca. She's really a very tight technical fighter. You can see she's come from Teaser's school. Yeah,
you will see some beautiful techniques from her in this fight, actually.
So they come out really quite fast there.
Yeah.
Initial nerves, do you think?
I think so, actually. They're both kind of pumped up to get into this bronze fight. They move around very well. What I like with Kristine is that she moves. She has a lot of. She cuts from a lot of angles, actually. And I have to mention also in this fight, in this tournament, the women had to fight with the normal-sized feathers.
There was a lot of complaints about that, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Notice that Tosca's doing a lot of descending hits. Kristine there to begin with doing a lot of ascending hits.
Yeah.
And I got in the way there, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Kristine.
That was beautiful.
That was a lovely hit.
And Tosca had a very good center in her attacks. She went for attacking straight in on the face and the neck. And Kristine had some problems.
Kristine seems to be coming out quite fast into the center. Tosca is measured, isn't she? She's really, she's taking out, and I get the feeling she's watching Kristine and just assessing that.
Yeah, she is. And we talked about this to calm down a little bit. And to don't step in too much at first, but just move in a little bit and just get a feel for it, and then decide what to do. There it is again.
That's
Actually,
the third one, isn't it?
yeah. And we talked about don't give her that opening, and Kristine said yes, no, I know, but it's so easy to go out there and forget it for a slight moment. Yes.
Unfortunately, there's no score on here. I just want to mention Petter, who's the red-headed judge there, was waving his flag at the bottom. That meant no quality. So Kristine's hit had no quality to it. These rules, I really like these rules at Helsinki. They had a way whereby you would, if you saw a hit, rather than just giving it or not, you could actually wave the flag.
Yeah, it's very, very good and very useful for us as judges. We can. It's easier for us now to have like a more direct communication.
Yeah,
that's great. And this is the first round, of course, over. So now we're talking about to calm down a little bit and to I don't remember exactly what we're talking about more, but yes, to calm down. Don't get stuck in the corner. Keep your feet moving. And keep in and tighten the center. Don't give away the center opening, so Tosca can go in, and we will see a quite different round, quite different fight here in the second round, actually.
And I think what's important, you've only got a minute between these rounds to actually give that advice, and you've got to keep them focused, but also try and relax them as well. So it's quite a big task.
It is, and you can't go in too much detail. Actually, you have to be. See, good.
Yeah.
And there you see again, the judge give no quality.
Yeah.
With a waving flag. This is something that Kristine does very well. She cuts around on the left side. She goes up to hanging. In Longsword, the classic hanging overhaul. She actually cuts through the parry several times.
Yeah, Tosca's not pushing that thrust home.
No.
So Kristine is able to cut around that, isn't she? And really target. Oof.
And Kristine managed to find. She had a lot of success with a high feint, and then cut low to the belly, to a lower target. She did it several times. She's very good at that.
Oh, you see, she's half swording there.
Yeah, she's half swording. Yeah, and that's also something I really love, that she's willing to go in and try it. You know.
Mm.
Okay, I'm gonna mix things up. I'm gonna do a half sword thing here.
And again, Tosca's just not quite pushing that home, and which is a marked difference from the first round. I don't know whether she's concerned about these quite punishing cuts.
I also think that you can see Kristine moves away. She moves in first, and then she starts moving away to pull out Tosca's attack, actually, and find a better distance for her. It's also interesting to see when you judge or if you coach, the way that the fighters move, that they follow the same pattern over and over again. And I try to do that when I fight. When I realize that, okay, I'm moving in the same pattern, try to mix it up and just move to a completely different angle, just to change things, and it can actually cause some trouble for the opponent, because all of a sudden they think something extremely
exactly. You have to break that rhythm.
So
this is quite fascinating. You've had round one, which I believe went to Tosca with those fantastic thrusts. You know, really, trying that. Then Kristine, I think the first couple she had to sort of get into it, but then was really punishing with these great big cuts.
Yeah, she did.
Very nice.
She cut around. She had a much better control over the distance. She moved in to pull out Tosca's attack, and then she moved out to get better distance and cut around, cut through Tosca's guard several times.
consistently moving to her left as well.
Yeah,
And Tosca's just not. It was quite frustrating to watch because I did want to say to Tosca, for God's sake, just push that down thrust in there. Maybe that's what he's saying now, actually.
Yeah.
So this is the final round. This is the decider.
And this is when you have to keep focused.
Yeah.
Third round. This is, I mean, a 9-minute fight. That's a long fight. Long time to keep fighting, to keep focused.
Yes. Now you see Kristine's fending off and Tosca's trying to cut through in there, just not getting in there. And she's not moving offline. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kristine goes up to a hanging guard and move away. So she has a very, very good protection there as well.
And I think this is something that all fighters get. I've done this a lot. Is you get trapped into this thing where you're just trying to do the same thing and it just doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I've looked back at my fights going, "What the hell are you doing? Do something else."
It's frustrating as hell.
Yes.
It's really frustrating. But then then a coach can be a good thing to have. Someone who says, you know, do something else, do completely different thing.
And me with absolute disgust, which is a little unfair, I think, actually, considering what they're trying to do.
Kristine comes into a high guard here as well, which is really cool. And they were up to 5-5 in the end. I don't know the score now, but
oof. And again, I hope that. Yeah, Tosca got that one because Kristine again just placed her sword, wasn't doing anything, and just
exactly.
And I think that's tiredness, isn't it? That's just you see there again. It's not really getting in there. I think they're just. I mean, they're knackered, aren't they? It's a huge amount of time to.
That was the Kristine when she go up for a high bind and then she cuts low. She does it very well. Again, and then she cuts around.
Yeah,
you see another point now. So yeah.
Quality and note that these are single hits and the quality slipping.
And you can see the pattern they follow when they move. The same over and over again.
And at this stage, it's really, I think it's too late really to do anything, isn't it? There's not much you can do. It's just. It's very hard to pull something out of the bag at that point.
Yeah, it is.
It's a pity the scores aren't on here. I'd love to have seen. Didn't see what that was. I've given it 2 points. He's given it 1. Okay.
You got the point there, Kristine. And I think it's 6-5 at this moment.
Tosca's really starting to push in now, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's trying to get in there.
There, the fight's over.
Yeah.
Kristine won 7-5, I think it was.
Was it? I mean, this is the thing that again we don't see the rounds damn close. Some really good fencing there.
Yeah.
A bit of a shame. I think the camera person decided to focus on Tosca there because it's not great, is it? It's, you know, you come away from that.
No, exactly.
Having given it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it. Fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've seen a really excellent fight where you can see both fighters tapering. They are running out of steam. And it's very interesting with the quality rule to watch that and start to see how things are just. It's actually great for reviewing because you start to see how the quality goes down, or it emphasizes it, shall we say. So first round goes to Tosca.
Yeah.
Second round, Kristine has adapted to these thrusts.
Yeah.
And is doing these cut arounds. Third round, they're running out of breath. It's very difficult to breathe in the mask when you're starting to go for it. You're puffed, and they're starting to flail a little bit. If I remember rightly, I think Tosca had the upper hand in the third round. How do you as a coach deal with this? How do you deal with a flagging fighter who needs to have that extra push to go through?
I think we talked about just go back to the basic things that she does so well, Kristine. She has some techniques that she's really good at, and she did them during the pool. She did them during the elimination fight. When she controlled the first bind and then went for a low cut to the torso section, and then immediately move out in safety. She does this several times. Also, when she cuts around, hanging over, cuts around and cuts through Tosca's guard several times, and that combined with just move your feet, don't get stuck in there, I think made it. And she managed really well to kind of to stay focused. You have to go out there and do it and do it and do it, and didn't get too emotional, which is a problem for every fighter. I think when you go out and just your head is so mixed up with the feelings. Oh, why didn't this work? Why did that judge give me no points? What's going on? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So she just managed to kind of stay really focused and just, I want this a little bit more than the other fencer, something like that.
Yeah, I can remember. I think it was Axel who was talking to me many years ago when I first started having a tryout competition. He says you've got to forget the last points, even if you've won it. You've got to forget it and just move on to the next thing, and that's incredibly difficult to do. Is that part of the coach's job then, to move the fighter on to the next exchange?
Yeah, I think so. We had some moments in other fights when I could see that the fighter what's going on? Why didn't I get a point for that? And when you start thinking about that, you're kind of losing focus. You should just you shouldn't see the judges. You shouldn't care about them at all. You should just move on to next exchange and pretty much see next exchange as this is a new fight. Every time. Bam, bam, bam.
I think that probably concludes it, really. So a great episode. Hans, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on coaching. And that's all. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.